I'm from Brooklyn, he's from Queens, and
Like the song. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna discuss what it's like to own a house and buy a house at 26. This is the lovely Princess Michelle, and I'm your boy Keem. So if you're watching this video and you never subscribed before, we have our own crib, and that's what this video is gonna be about. Like pretty much what it's like owning a crib, what it's like, how the process was getting a house, why we bought a house, and blah, 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 blah. So I guess we should start from the beginning. So we were living in our apartment we live in New Mexico, by the way. We lived in our apartment for about 4 years, right? Yeah, about 4 years. And we lived in a nice apartment. One thing about renting is the longer you live there, whenever you renew your lease, it goes up. And it may go by $10, it may go by $20. It's gonna go up. So in like 10 years, you know, your rent's gonna be significantly different from that first year you lived there. So we figured, you know what, 4 years, it's time to get a house. Also, when we got the apartment together, that was our chance of kind of seeing what it's like living with each other too. Because I know a lot of relationships out there where, you know, you guys get together, like, you know what, okay, we're in love, that's it, go buy a house. The way how someone lives it's completely different than you guys at your parents' house and you guys are talking with each other. When you live with someone, that really shows everyone's true colors. So I highly recommend getting an apartment first if you guys then decide to live with each other. See if you can live with the other person, then go from there. But yeah, I mean, we were in the apartment for about 4 years, so we loved each other, and you know, whatever I lack, she's there for it, and whatever she lacks, I'm there for it. It's kind of perfect thing.
I think a lot of people think too that we just up and decided to just come to New Mexico. That's not the case at all. We're both originally from New York, as y'all know from the channel. I'm from Brooklyn, he's from Queens, and
like the song.
So we were coming from there. I had to come out here because my mom got a house out here, and so I was originally gonna go to school in New York. But I just kind of noticed that the houses out here were really like beautiful and not luxury style, but like they were just really nice and they were very cheap. So when we started looking for apartments, it was kind of like, well, do we go back to New York and pay like $2,000 for like a studio, or do we stay here and pay, I don't know, like for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, like a G basically. And so when we first got our apartment, we actually got like a lease special, and we were only paying like, what was it, like $700?
You know what's crazy about the lease special? We went to get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. It was on the first floor. The lady told us, look, this is not gonna be available to A, B, C, D, F, G. So we're like, well, we need to move in ASAP. I'm in New York. You know, Shelly was out here first. She was able to scope out the apartments. We made the decision that we're gonna live out here. And we were staying at Michelle's mom's for probably about a week. So we're like, okay, within this week, we want to make sure we have an apartment, whatever. So we picked up the apartment before we even stayed with Michelle's mom's. But yeah, when we went there, the lady was like, you know, I got this available. Then she said, you know what? I got this other thing available. It's on the 3rd floor. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's around the same price. So we went to go look at it, and that's a no-brainer. Boy, the floor plan was like a 1,000-something square foot. Like it was like a decent sized apartment. So for us, we were like, okay, no-brainer, you know. It was like $750, right, in the beginning?
The area was so nice too.
Yeah.
We were right by the mall, and we were right by all these like nice stores, and even our jobs were very close. So it was convenient. It was a convenient location. We were paying, you know, a decent, you know, price for the apartment. And then it was just like, we just found that we were able to save a lot more because the apartment was so feasible. And then the topic just kind of came a couple of times of, well, we're here in this nice apartment and it's cool, but why don't we just get our own crib? Because like, why not?
I mean, my philosophy is I always want to own property. I like from a young age, that was my goal. That was, like, I knew I wanted a house like before the apartment, right? But like I said, we did the apartment first just to make sure everything's, you know, A1. And there was a point where like that 4th year, we had to renew our lease. The lease we started at 750. Now we're at like 1200, right? Somewhere around there. We're like 1100, 1200 in the fourth year.
Which is still not bad.
It's not for that type of apartment. Like I said, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, living room is huge. You guys see my old vlogs. You've seen kind of some of the apartment already. You see what's up. I had a game room in there. Our bedroom was nice. It was super nice. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, I think this is the time to look for houses. So we started looking. So this is 2020 right now, right? So 2019 we started looking, just like this, not serious, but we just looking, see
like
what
Zillow.
Yeah. We use little apps, look at houses. And then the beginning of this year, we got a little more serious. We're like, okay, you know what? I think around like, when was it? Like March, April-ish? Let's put an inquiry in.
So March is when we got really serious with our our financial guy?
Well, before that. Before we even got that, what month did we put like the inquiry in for someone to call us?
February.
Yeah, so February, we put an inquiry in, and this dude reached out, two real estate agents reached out to us. And the one we end up going with, like I said, we put the inquiry in, son called in 2 seconds. Like, I hanged the phone up, my phone started ringing again. Like, I was like, hey, my son is, he's not playing no games. So probably about 20 minutes, another one called us later. And that's the thing, I'm in this business too, where it's about the customer, and the customer always gonna be taken care of. And then if somebody put in the inquiry for a car, I'm calling you right there on the spot. So the fact that he did that, I was like, okay, this is someone I want to work with, because I'm in the same field and I know what it's like. So the fact he's on it like that, was like, bet. So we're talking to this dude. He kind of, it was Amar, right? No, we talked to Isaiah first.
You spoke to Isaiah,
okay,
and then we spoke to him.
So it was a real estate agent that called us first, and he let us know, like, shout out to Isaiah. I don't know if you've seen this video or not, but Isaiah called us first, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm excited you guys looking at your first house, blah, blah, blah. You can do this, and this. But before you guys start, let's do, like, he just broke everything down. So he brought, and then I don't know if Amar is our financial dude. And I don't know if he called us or Isaiah gave us his contact information.
I don't remember who contacted who.
I don't remember who did it, but we got a hold of Amar, and Amar played a big key role in this whole house purchase, because he's the guy that gets you pre-approved. He's the guy that, tell you, okay, here's your limit. Okay, I need this, I need that. But we're gonna get there when you get to closer, when you find your house. And I do a lot of stuff in my hands. I do it. So you're gonna see all this in the video. So don't mind that. So we got hold of Amar, and he explained everything to us. So Isaiah and Amar, that team together, it was like really knowledgeable, really fast. They went around our schedule, and it just worked. So we went in, spoke to Amar, and let's read to a finance. What do you call Amar? Like, what is he? I forgot the term.
Mortgage consultant?
So I forgot the term is. The person that gets your pre-approved and gets your offer ready and everything. Anyways, it's so important to speak with that person first, because what they'll do is a loan officer. There we go. So shout out to Michelle. She got all the receipts. But you speak to your loan officer, and they will pretty much take all your information, your credit, what you're making, blah, 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 and get you a pre-approval. Now, your pre-approval will give you a certain amount. So you can be pre-approved up to $100,000. You can pre-approve up to $200,000. You can be pre-approved up to $5 million. I don't know. It's based on your financial situation. So once you get that pre-approval, now you know what you can afford. And now that you know what you can afford, then you can start looking, like, seriously. I mean, it's always good to just, before you do the pre-approval stage, to get an idea. But once you get that pre-approval, you know how much you're gonna be able to afford. So now you're not looking at houses that you can't afford. You're not gonna go in person, see a house, fall in love with it. I want to live here, and now you can't get approved for it because you never get pre-approved. Anyways, you get pre-approved, and really important. Make sure you don't forget that. Get pre-approved. You don't have to go through a realist. You don't have to go to a realtor. You can do all the stuff on your own, but a realtor just makes everything easy, especially all the paperwork. And I mean, that's what you're paying them for. Their job is to make the process easy for you. It's like when you're buying a car. You don't buy a car off of Kratos, off of Facebook. and you versus going through a dealership, because the dealership will have everything lined up, paperwork, the car is checked out and ready to go for you. Once you have that all done, you can go and look at houses. Now, here's the interesting part. 2020 is the year of the seller. It's a seller's market. We looked at about 10, 11 houses, and we put offers on 3 houses, 2 houses. Well, technically 3, but besides, this is the 3rd house. So besides this one, we saw 10 houses, and 2 of them we loved to offer it. But before I even get you, let's go back. Let's go back. Before we get to that houses, let's tell you about the first house we saw. So actually, Michelle knows what we're talking about. So
that was the bird.
No.
That was
the first
bird.
house
Okay.
we've ever saw. Not the bird. The first house we ever saw. You don't remember the first house? So we talked to Isaiah. You know, we got pre-approved. He know how much we can afford, what price range we're looking at, and we go look at this first house. And when I say I will never forget this house ever in my life, first of all, we get to the house. You know, the neighborhood is not that bad. And the neighborhood, so we were... Oh, now you remember. yes. Now you remember.
Oh, my God.
See, Shelly know what we're talking about. So, the area where this house is at, it's far for both of us. That's one. So, this is the first house we're going to look at. So, we're not really too worried about it being far out, because this is the first house.
And we also don't mind driving, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, especially him, like you like to drive.
Well, the apartment was about 5 minutes, if even 5 minutes from my job. And Michelle, the job before she was in education, her first job was about 3 minutes, you know, from the apartment. Now she's in education now. Her job's about 10 minutes from the apartment. How far was it?
It was like 15.
Like 15 minutes? And then how far is it from here now, this house?
It's still like 15.
Yeah, so it shows you change. I'm further away from my job, but now it's 15 for me. Before I was closer, but I'm still pretty close to the dealership. So we drove up, we get to the house, we beat Isaiah there. So we're just waiting. We have time to kind of check out the front of the house. It's the first house, when you get into this neighborhood, it's the first house on the right? So on the right side, the left side of the house is nothing, and then you have the neighbors on the right side. So there's like a broken window or something like that in the front, or something like that. Yeah, I think the main window in front of the house, one of the squares are broken. So that's already a red flag. I'm like, okay, whatever. Shelly didn't like the landscaping of it. And the landscape was, you know, so as they get there, we meet him for the first time, we go in the house. So there's multiple different houses for sale. There are sometimes you're gonna look at a house and the people that's living there are still living there. So all of the furniture, everything's still there. And there's gonna be some houses where they're empty because the previous owner moved out already or got their own house. Or some people actually put their stuff in storage, that way they can have, which is smart, because it's hard to sell a house and you have stuff like this in there. Unless you have like really nice stuff, then maybe that'll help you sell the house. But not a lot of people are gonna have like, you know, $10,000 couches and just sitting around, you know. So we get in this house. This house has furniture, everything's still in there. They haven't moved out yet. So me and Shelly kind of split up. We did kind of look at the same rooms together, but we kind of split up looking out throughout the house. So from what I saw is I went into the first, I think it's a 3-bedroom, right? It was a 3-bedroom. Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom. So the kitchen had dishes in the sink, and I like, if you're trying to sell a house, wouldn't you try to clean it as much as you can?
It just wasn't a good like first impression, because we had said that we wanted something that was move-in ready, but at the same time, like, we don't mind like fixing up little things. But with this particular house, besides even the inside, the backyard wasn't done, the front yard wasn't done. Like, we would have had to replace lighting, we would have had to replace flooring. Like, it would have been so much out of pocket.
Yeah, and then we went in the garage, and then there's nothing wrong with having pets in the house if you're still living in there. But we look in there, there's like 3-4 dogs just looking at me. They're like,
poor babies.
They're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, dogs looking crazy.
Like, it was also during COVID. Like, that's, you know, when things were. So another thing too is like, we had to like really schedule like appointments to like see the houses, because it was social distancing, it was appointments, it was, you know, wearing the masks, and you can only have a certain amount of people in the house. So I think for a lot of people, like, we were trying to see a lot of homes, but they had to like leave because they couldn't really be in the same house while we were there, so we couldn't even like talk to anyone or stuff. So that kind of made the experience a little bit like too, especially with that first house, because they couldn't even tell us like anything. It was just like
I can't front, COVID or not, if I'm selling my crib, it's not looking like that. I promise you it's not looking like that. Like, I get what y'all was saying, you know, sometimes it's that kind of inconvenience, you get to probably just leave. But my house is not going on the market if it looks crazy, because and then the price they're asking for the house didn't justify. You know, I feel like they were asking for too much for the house because of the work that Michelle mentioned and the condition they had it in. But but that first house, we were like, no. Like Isaiah probably, he was looking at us and we were looking at him, and he
he definitely knew.
We was like, this is a no. And he was like, I got you. Anyways, we looked at a few more houses. I'm not gonna sit here and explain every house because every house has its own, you know, thing. There's one house where the guy still lived there too, and he only let one person at a time. So I walked in there first, looked around, came back out, and I had to put on like booties on my shoes. I had to wear gloves. He was serious, and Shelly went after. So, you know, we looked at a lot of different houses. One house we fell in love with, it was empty. Right by the door, there was I've never seen this bird before in my life. The bird, it was a blue bird. It was beautiful. He had a nest right above the front door, and he was looking at us like, you gonna walk past? You know, he was like, he was unbothered. And we went and we fell in love with this house. The house literally has everything this house had. So the neighborhood it was in, it was way closer to Shelly's job. It was a little more further for me. The house was perfect. And we put an offer in it. And the reason why earlier I mentioned this is a seller's market, because we put an offer on the house and there was like a bunch of offers on it, and people are fighting for houses. So let's say somebody lists the house for $200,000. If you put your offer for $200,000 what the seller's selling their house for, you're probably not gonna get the house, because someone else is gonna offer $210,000, $220,000, $230,000. Like right now, everyone is trying to buy houses. It's crazy, because I spoke to some of my coworkers, and there were times where houses weren't such a big deal, where you can tell the owner, all right, I want to pay $190. I'm not paying $200,000, or I give you my offer for $180, because houses weren't selling as fast. Right now, houses were selling left and right. Like we had the app, the Zillow app, and every time we save a house, it sells the next day. It's crazy. I don't know if it's still going on right now, because we're talking early this year. Right now, we already have our house up. We haven't been looking, so I think the market is still pretty crazy, because I've met some customers that's looking for a house and they're going through the same thing. So long story short, I got outbidded for that house. Then we found another house. Now this house, we were actually going to downgrade a little bit, because it didn't have certain things where it wasn't that much. It was like one or two things. And so it was still fine. And outbidded for that house. So this house popped up, and we were lucky that this house popped up, because the same realtor that we worked with was the same people selling the house. So we were able to take a look at this house before it was on the market or anything. So yeah, we came in, we looked, first of all, we loved the neighborhood as soon as we drove in. Like that was like a green light. It had everything both of the first two houses that we looked at had. And it's a townhouse too, so that's something a little bit different. But then it reminded us of New York, you know, because New York is kind of like this, a lot of like townhouses and stuff. So it kind of just, everything worked out. All I cared about was a 2-car garage. I definitely wanted a shower, like you know how your master bathroom can have like a tub, a jacuzzi tub, whatever, for a bath, and then a shower right next to it. Had to have that. Walk-in closet is a plus. I wanted his and her sinks, and it had all of that. I don't really care about a big backyard or a small backyard, or me. I'm not a backyards person. Shelly didn't really care about the backyards, but me, I'm not really a backyard person. I mean, I would love to have space back there to be back there, but it didn't have to be huge. Because here in New Mexico, a lot of these properties, the backyards are huge. Like, it's just crazy.
I just wanted like a nice kitchen, like a really like...
She's care about the kitchen.
Big kitchen. And this house definitely had that. And it was just nice because... like we want like fur babies in the future and actual babies, so that way we just have more room, and we get to give our kids kind of the space that we never got as kids. Like our parents did obviously their best, but we grew up in apartments, and like me, I lived like in a basement apartment, and so it feels good to finally have the opportunity to have a choice in where we live. I'm just really grateful and humble that we found this house, because it just kind of checked all the boxes, and
Yep.
even our payments aren't as much as when we had the apartment. So we kind of really just like did well with our transition, and it's just, I don't know, we wake up every day and we still can't believe like we have a garage, we can pull in our cars, and like it's just so nice, and I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, and just to add on what Shelly said, yeah. So I was born in Far Rock in New York. And you know, we were in a basement, same thing like Shelly, we were in a basement apartment. I remember you turn the light off, the roach, you turn the light back on, and you're gonna have to get it with the roach. We really had to grind and get to where we are now to have our own house at 26, you know, like no one really does that, you know, like, so well, we are proud of what we have achieved and we've come so far, and there's so much more to come. Our love together is strong, you know, and we're gonna continue to grow. And we're gonna be wilding out here. We're gonna be wilding out here, son. You're gonna see a lot of changes on the channel and stuff. But back to the house though, because now I'm trying to get off topic.
Yeah, we're in a nice neighborhood. We are a super young couple in this neighborhood. This neighborhood has a lot of families. At first, we thought that we were the only Black couple, but it come to find out, I believe there's 3 or 4 other families that are out here. So it's nice. It's just a huge culture shock. So it's nice to know that there's other like people of color in the neighborhood. And I know for some people, they don't really care about that when it comes to like living in a neighborhood, but we do have to be realistic about our situation, and like we have to be mindful of those we do keep around, just for our safety, and also just you know, for relatability and just to feel comfortable and stuff. So that was a nice thing for us moving out here, is moving in this neighborhood. And there's a lot of parks around here. We go for our walks / you know, exercises and stuff like that. And
get some bikes. We're gonna get some
we're
bikes.
Getting bikes soon, because there's so many bike paths and stuff.
Yep.
The scenery is so beautiful. There's still a lot of stores around us. We're like right next to like a major highway to get to wherever, which is nice too. And the neighborhood is just so well taken care of. People are so nice over here. And it's all different backgrounds, all different ages and stuff, but we are definitely one of the youngest here.
I mean, I made a video talking about what it's like moving from New York to New Mexico. And, you know, like I said, we've been about 4 years, 5 years. 4 years, right? We have 4 years. 5 years. We've been here about 4 years.
I'm sorry to think about
and no, you're Gucci. And yeah, Shirley's right. Coming from New York and living here, I mean, you guys see my past few vlogs when I went back to New York. You know, there's a lot of people that look like me where I'm from, and now that I come here, you know, the percentage is 1%, I think, or 2% of the population here is African American. So, but me living here for about 4 years, I mean, I'm kind of used to that already. So when we were looking for a neighborhood, the chances of us living in a neighborhood where the demographic is mostly something else is like super high, because it's New Mexico. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But we don't let that bother us. You know, we have each other, and I've met a lot of cool people here since I've been living here, and they all been cool. And New Mexico is such a nice state. People here are just super happy, and it's pretty cool. Everybody do their thing. Everybody go about their business, you know. And I've really never had an issue, you know, living here, you know. So it's pretty cool, pretty safe. I mean, the car theft is through the roof, but like I said, I explained everything in that video. I will link it right above my head. So now that we got the house, right? Like I said, I'm not gonna go step for step, because it is a process purchasing a home. I think the biggest part is finding a house. That's the longest part, because after you decide on your home, now you have to close on your home. You have to go through escrow, and that usually takes about a month or some change. Sometimes it can be longer than that. Making sure your paperwork. I just burped, so I don't know why. That's why she's looking at me crazy. That's not in the video about the burp. Making sure your paperwork is correct. Making sure everything that you put down is right. You make this amount a month, Like everything gotta be Gucci, and you cannot interrupt anything with your financials during this time of closing. So you can't just open up a new loan or change your job. You can't do anything because this period of time, the bank is making sure, they're babysitting you. They're making sure everything you said, everything that you provided is correct. So once you go through that month of make it, and it's not like people make it seem hard. It's not that hard. All you have to do is live your normal life. Just don't open no loans or accounts, and keep your job and your Gucci, pretty much. So you go through inspection. You know, you have someone take a look at the house. You got to make sure the house, you know, it don't whatever the seller listed that it needs or it don't need. That just gotta make sure you Gucci. You gotta make sure you're safe, because you don't want to go buy a $300,000 house and then you have to put $50,000 into it. Now you're in the house $350,000. You know, like that don't make sense. So you gotta protect yourself. Get the house inspected. Also, you gotta get the house appraised too, because sometimes the seller will sell their house for a certain amount and the house is really worth a lot less. You know, so and if the house is worth a lot less versus the seller, you can tell the seller, well, the house is worth this much. I'll do this, and if they don't take your offer, then go find another house. You know, like so. It's
like a negotiation.
It is, but not when it's the seller market though. When it's the seller market, if you dare try to negotiate, you're losing. You're not getting the house. Like especially if there's like 5-6 offers on the house, you gotta make it seem that why the seller should pick you. You know, pick your offer, because everyone's gonna have their proposal to buying your house as a seller, and you pick who you want, pretty much. And there's a lot of costs and a lot of things that goes. I'm not gonna get down to that because it does get very tedious, because there's a lot of little costs and stuff you have to worry about, closing costs and this and that, all types of stuff. So if you're one of those people if you're watching this video because you want to buy a house now and you're pretty young, you could write me on Discord. You can write me on Instagram. You know, I get questions every day about stuff on my channel, so I'm always open if you guys want to hit me up. And then if you can find my stuff, you can find Shelly's stuff too if you want to hit her up as well. I can, you know, help you guys out, but the process is really easy, to be honest. After you buy that first house, it's scary at first because you've never done it before. But once you go through it, you realize it's not that big. That's why people will have a house and sell it and buy another house, get a bigger house, get a smaller house, because the process is really not that crazy. We did move all of our stuff here by ourselves. One thing I'll say is get movers. Get movers. Because remember, we lived on the 3rd floor in our apartment, and moving everything out the apartment, I mean, shout out to Eric, shout out to Jesus, and that was it, right? That helped us. And Ryan helped me out too as well too. So shout out to those 3, they helped us out. But we moved in one day, and when I said I was drained, boy, like go back in my videos, you'll see when we first moved here. We had a 16-footer, I think, moving truck, packed to the brim. We unloaded it in here. And this is a 2-story house, so it's pretty cool. I mean, it's very spacious, high ceilings. You probably hear my echo in this video. That's why the audio sounds crazy. Beautiful house. Like, I love it. We've got a fireplace we're probably never gonna use. You know, like it's very comfortable. I'm glad that, you know, from where we came from, we were able to reward ourselves in a living condition like this. And from us working hard, we're able to achieve this, because this is not from YouTube or none of this stuff. A lot of YouTubers out there, you know, a lot of stuff they have from YouTube. This is literally from us saving, grinding, doing our thing, you know, putting the hours in, putting the work in, you know, out here trapping. No, I'm playing. But, you know, we ain't trapping. But, no, we did our thing, and this is where we are. You know, Shelly got a 2020 CRV. You know, I got my project over there. And speaking of projects, we're gonna get more cars and stuff, but I kind of want to keep this video about the house, so I'm not gonna mention none of that stuff in this video. Yeah, after the whole escrow and everything's over, you close, you get your keys, and you're Gucci. Now the paperwork is not that bad. Like, everyone always says, oh my God, signing for a house is the worst thing in the world. And I think it's not that bad to me, because I sell cars, so I do car paperwork every day. And that is a lot of paperwork, but buying a home, it's more than buying a car, but it's still not. I was done in like, I think half an hour, 45 minutes of signing, I think, or was it an hour? I mean, you do sit there and kind of read and you get your copies and stuff, so it does take some time, but it don't take that time. It's like 45 minutes, you'll be done signing the paper for the house. So the whole we meet with the title people and you do paperwork part, that's not that long. So if you're trying to get a house right now, just to sum everything up, get pre-approved. Get pre-approved. Once you get pre-approved, once you get pre-approved, now you know your budget. I mean, if you want to go max of your budget, you can. You know, for my pre-approval, I try to go somewhere in the middle, because it don't make sense to max yourself out and then let's say you can get this house, but you have to put a little bit more money down, something like that, but you're maxed, so you're done. But make sure you look at a lot of houses. Do not look at one house and buy that house. Well, that's up to you. If you see one house, you fall in love with it, you want to buy it. That's up to you. But give yourself more options. Look at a few houses, and then make sure they have everything you wanted. Then you know, get ahead and go for it. But remember, inspection. Make sure the house look good. And there's things to look for. You know, see if there's any cracks on the foundation. Look inside the garage. I'm not gonna get too in detail on things to look for when you're buying a house, because that's a whole nother video by itself. I may or may not even make that video. But if you have a good realtor, you know, good people behind you, you should be Gucci. You know, if you have a good, what was Amar again? His title?
Our mortgage lender.
If you have a good realtor, mortgage lender, they'll take care of you. Do your research, look at reviews, you know. Shout out to Mar again, because he's from New York too. So we all got along. He's from New York. He already know what's up, you know. So shout out to him. Everybody was cool. It was a good process. And yeah, we have this house. We've been living here since July, and a lot has changed since we moved in. And you probably see from some of my vlogs as well. In the next few years, a lot's gonna change probably even more. There's a lot of stuff we wanna make more modern, because this house it's not an old house. It's actually a fairly new house. It's not 2020, but it's a fairly new house. So there's not a lot of stuff we even need to do when we moved in. Like Shelly said, she wanted it to be more moving ready. But the little touches we wanna do, like our own touches, you know, personalizing. Other than that, we didn't have to do nothing. You know, the owner, they put a new roof on the house, and they fixed some stuff on the outside, but other than that, it was perfect. It was ready to go. So definitely excited. Love the house. Like Shelly said, I wake up every morning and still just can't believe that we got this. You know, like this is our crib. You know, we live here. Who knows? You know, we may live here for a long time. You know, things may change. We may get a bigger house. You know, who knows? You know, get little Shellys running around, little Keens running around. We run out of space. We may need to get a bigger house, but the fact that we got our first house out the way and we know the process will make the future a lot easier. So thank you guys for stopping by. I know we haven't done a video of us sitting down here talking for a long time. Now, I've been wanting to make this video, and today was the day to make it. Like I said, hit me up if you have any questions. If you're looking for your first house, or if you're looking for your first apartment, if you need any feedback, I'm here for you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna see you guys in the next video.
Chucky B.